So the day of reckoning is finally upon us. It's like, nah, I'm just kidding. Seriously, yesterday on June 28th, Adam22 made the announcement of the year. He's finally letting his girl get smashed.
We decided, we've been having this conversation for like damn near a year. She shot her first ever scene with another man.
Hell no! Before we get too much into it, guys, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a refresher on who Adam22 is. Adam22 runs a big podcast, No Jumper. They interview a bunch of artists, some YouTubers, his girl, Lena the Plug. She's basically like an OnlyFans star, and then together they run their own podcast, which is called Plug Talk, where they speak other corn stars and miscellaneous stuff. So, what do I think of the situation? Do I think a 6'4" guy who's tatted in the face, who does corn with his girl on a regular basis, is this completely out of the picture? No, guys. I mean, from what I've heard, the corn star community, other corn stars date other corn stars who actually do it. So I think this is kind of common. It's not like he's like a finance attorney or like a lawyer and then, you know, he's letting his girl get smashed out on OnlyFans. So I'm really not surprised that he's kind of going down this lane. For the sake of this video, though, we might use eggplant gymnastics because YouTube is a little sensitive.
I'm curious as to why all of a sudden Adam decided to switch up the rules in his relationship. Because before it was like, it was him, it was his girl, and they went on dates with other girls. And all of a sudden, now you want to bring men to the table to have dates with you? I don't understand why you would switch up all of a sudden and do that.
I'm going to be honest, I'm going to keep it completely real. I like Adam22 for the most part. I think his content brings a new spin on it. But, I mean, he looked so uncomfortable when he even made this announcement. And I think at some point in time, he even mentioned that how his stomach felt some kind of way because he was, like, playing poker while the whole thing was happening.
I was playing poker all day, the day that she did it. So it was like that. I was already, like, locked in to be doing something all day. If she wasn't doing that, she probably would have just been doing some regular, like, you know, hanging out with the family type stuff. And instead, she goes and does the scene with this other guy. And I was kind of surprised because I feel like I can, like, intellectualize it. And from my perspective, I don't think it should be a big deal. Yeah. But then after she actually did it, I'm not going to lie, I did feel kind of odd in the belly. You know, but I feel like it's something that I'm probably going to get. I'm going to progressively get more used to it, you know, more okay with it. But I'm not going to lie, like, I ended up actually, like, feeling a little bit more emotional turmoil.
Adam's main reasoning that he was going to say is that Adam runs a bunch of businesses. And his girlfriend, Lena the Plug, only does fans only, right? And that's her main source of income. And people who watch her stuff, they want to see her shoot other content with other guys.
And who idea was it, like, to go out and do this and do the solo scene?
Well, we've been talking about it for a while because it's like, from her perspective, it's been the most in-demand thing for like many, many years now. Where like obviously like any of her fans, that's like the number one thing that they want to see her do because they've only seen her shoot with me for all these years. So.
Yeah.
My personal opinion though is, I mean, they don't need the money, if we're being real. They don't need the money.
I said that I wanted her to do it. I'm like,
on top of millions of dollars, Adam. You didn't do that shit.
Fair enough.
And if I'm being honest, I'm not sure if this is worth the risk in the relationship because during the interview he speaks about how they talked this over with, you know, in a whole year, and it was kind of like a whole process they had to go through. I don't know. My thing is if it's that big of a process, man, I just wouldn't do it. And that's just my personal opinion. Cause like I said, I get it. Like they run a show where they both do eggplant gymnastics to one person. So it's in their vein. But at the same time, like just watching him do the interview was just so cringe to me. What it looked like you ever see a guy who dated a girl and then the girl put the guy in the friend zone? And then he watches the girl date another guy and he's like, oh, I'm so happy for her. Like, yeah, you know, I'm cool being friends. But you can look at him and see that he's very uncomfortable and he's not very happy. That's what Adam looked like in this.
So you make really good points. You say he doesn't need the money. He obviously doesn't need the money. He's a man of means. He makes money from his podcast. He makes money from YouTube, which is a podcast. He makes money in different ways. So he's obviously the breadwinner. I don't think he's too concerned about how much money she's bringing in. I think that's just a way for him to make himself feel better or to frame it to the public to make it less of a stain on him. Because I am skeptical for the reasoning that the only reason he agreed to it after 10 years of deliberation is because he wants to send her career out with a bang. Pun intended.
I felt like at a certain point I was not okay with it just because of the reaction that I know is inevitably about to come and is probably taking place in the comments as we speak. Now having done it though, it's like I do feel sort of like this conflicted,
he's
a little bit of emotional turmoil.
I've recently read that they just got married maybe a week ago. So part of me wonders this. Did he give in to her ask and her desire because now she has the leverage because maybe he didn't get a prenup. I don't know if he did or not. So maybe he didn't get a prenup and he knows that if he pushes back too hard and says no, she could divorce him. Now I'm really jumping right now. I don't know for a fact. I'm just guessing here, but it could be a situation like that. I don't know.
My biggest thing is this. If you're very unsure about it, this is not the industry to be unsure about it because, I mean, it's recorded.
Yeah.
So let's hypothetically say he's uncomfortable with it. And I don't know this for sure. Let's just say he's uncomfortable with it. It's going to be out on the internet and any one of his enemies is going to be able to replay it over and over and over and over again. Earlier this year, there was a rapper. His name was Freddie Gibbs. And his girlfriend was actually on Adam's show, Plug Talk. And she did some eggplant gymnastics. And there are people going in on him online for weeks.
So is this allowed? Are they allowed? Is she allowed to do that, or she just did it because she without his permission? Or is it agreement?
So basically, they broke up. They were together. They broke up, and then she was just like, "All right, well, I'm single now." So she did whatever. But I mean,
well, if they were broken up, I mean, it's still bad, but
I mean, he still get roasted online for it, bro.
For sure.
Because Adam's big part was the blowback. He didn't receive the blowback from the whole thing.
And I can agree. I can see how that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, dude, who wants to be roasted on the internet for like a week?
Bro, I can just see now like academics live streaming this shit.
The thing about Adam 22, right, is because he's in this field. I understand as a man, it's going to be weird regardless. You're going to get roasted regardless, but it is in line with his profession and persona. It's not like, some famous Hollywood actor who's not known for that kind of lifestyle all of a sudden says, I'm going to let my wife do this. People are going to look like, what is going on here?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why I said earlier, like, I understand it. I'm not surprised. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I'm not surprised it happened. Right? Because in multiple interviews, he stated that I don't know if we're that deep into eggplant gymnastics that I would keep doing this kind of thing. So, I mean, for him to actually finally come to it, I'm just kind of like, all right, whatever. They're eggplant gymnastic people. That's what they do. So,
like you just said a second ago in the clip where he's explaining how he felt during the time it was occurring, I can't buy that he just doesn't really care, if not for the fact that he would get roasted online. In other words, I think he really does care at his core that his wife is doing gymnastics with another man.
Yeah.
I really do.
And here's the thing, too. I also want to clarify this. I'm not going in on the girl at all because obviously, I mean, they're a couple and he agreed to it, too. So, if anything, it's kind of more of his fault than anything else because she gave him an out. I do think it's a bad decision on his part. Financially, it's a good decision because they're going to make a whole bunch of money. But anything that could potentially put your relationship in jeopardy or potentially give you an insecurity that you weren't insecure about, to me, is always an L. So I'm going to say it's a bad decision.
I agree. And this is no shade to Adam, no shade to his wife, like you just said. I don't have any type of judgment towards them. And just because they are in a certain industry doesn't mean that they are without morals or without boundaries. So, for example, just because they are in that industry doesn't mean that it's free game. So it's okay. I understand if Adam and his girl do certain things with just women and he says, inviting men to the dinner table is a no-no, I think that's totally fine and respectable. So anyone that says, oh, well, he's already involved in this lifestyle, it's just a matter of time before this happens, it's a natural progression, not necessarily. There are different rules for different parties in this type of industry. So some people are okay with it being completely open. Some people are like, you can only be with this person or this type of person or whatever the case may be. So to each their own. If he did this against what he really wanted to do just because maybe he wanted to make his wife happy or because even worse, if his wife put his back against the wall because they just got married, I hope that's not the case. I hope that the reason he decided to do it is for what he's, whatever reason he did and he's actually okay with it.
I mean, I'm saying it's a bad decision because he's an urban podcaster. Listen, if they were just corn stars, I'd be like, whatever. But like the fact that he's an urban podcaster, so who's his main demographic? His main demographic is what? It's probably men between 18 to 25, probably black, or probably urban white kids, there isn't that many. So, you know what I'm saying? And within that crowd, that's looked down upon all the way. For sure. Like, I'm pretty sure in his comments, he's just seeing nothing but simp, if I'm being real.
Probably. And he knew what would happen. That's why he said it. So, You're right.
Nonetheless, guys, this has been Bad Decisions. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And let us know our decision makers, what you guys want us to review next. We're out.